What's been going on? I needed to do an update. It's been a couple days that I've started to pull stuff apart. Was able to borrow a siphoning tube from Kevin and Dave, and I emptied my gas tank. I pulled the gas tank out, took the wheels off, which I'm gonna show a tool I bought. I bought this tool. It's a Milwaukee, like a impact wrench, and it's just battery powered. And I didn't realize how awesome these were. Just struggled with really hard to pull off bolts and nuts and stuff, and just, you just do it with a ratchet. This makes everything so much easier that I can't recommend if you're just like a hobbyist like me. They're expensive, and I didn't buy the biggest one. I bought like the medium torque one, but you can, take your lug nuts on and off. But it works on everything, and Volkswagens are so simple that I went to Harbor Freight and bought like a small kit of metric sockets, and you can like take the whole car apart with this tool. So I took the gas tank out, and then I just started to pull apart and just like kind of look at it. I had to go ask Kevin a couple of questions because I'm leaving the spindle kind of all in one piece. And once he explained it, like what I actually had to do to pull the whole spindle off with the drum and the brake backing plate and everything together, it was really easy. It's just like it's like 2 bolts and the whole assembly kind of comes off. So I took off both sides, and then I started I took off all the tie rods and just started looking at my tie rod ends, and some of them are kind of crappy and some of them are like decent. And so on a narrowed beam, you have to have different length tie rods because the wheels are coming closer together, and the tie rods go from like the pitman arm to each side. So the driver's side is shorter, the passenger side is longer, but they're both narrower than stock ones because the beam is narrower so that your wheels don't rub on anything, even though my wheels kind of rub on the headlight bucket, but we're gonna resolve that issue. When the car was super low, it just didn't turn great. It was like I turned the wheel and it kind of turned, and I'm like, well, Kevin was explaining, he's like, you're probably hitting your headlight bucket because the wheels kind of moved forward and up, and it's having clearance issues to turn all the way. I want the car to turn all the way. So I ordered a new steering box. I decided I'm going to order new tie rods and tie rod ends to where hopefully, I don't think it's ever going to steer great because when you lower a car, you kind of fuck up everything. All the geometry's wrong, and you're just doing stupid things to the car as far as drivability goes. It looks cool, but it doesn't drive good. That's the price you pay for looking cool. So I wanted to tell a quick story. The other day, I was driving my car around the neighborhood. I hadn't started it in a few weeks, and I just wanted to, start it, make sure it started, drive it. This lady came up to me and asked me, hey, did you see where that bug went? And I said, oh, that was my bug. She's like, oh, and we had a brief conversation. She said, I have a bug and it's around the corner. I don't know if it was her parents or grandparents' house. And I've seen it. I walk my dog in this neighborhood all the time, like every day, and I see this super beetle. I've always noticed it. It has like kind of painted on white walls that are kind of fake, like from water. It looked like a very complete car that's been sitting outside for a while. And I never really paid much attention to it other than, oh, there's a bug. And you see a bug, you notice it. And she asked me, do you know a good Volkswagen mechanic? And I said, sure, I do. I can recommend you to a place that I'm very familiar with and has worked on my cars, and they're great. They're so fast. You're going to drop it off and leave, and before you get home, they're going to call you and be like, come back, it's fixed. Come get your car. We're done. Which has happened to me before. And I'm talking about Major's Air Cooled, and I was just like, yeah. She's like, do you know their number? And so I Google it for her, and I tell her the number, and she's like, thank you. Nice lady, nice conversation. I leave. Yesterday, here's a clip. That's a tow truck dropping off the car right by my house. I'm watching this happen, and I'm like, is this lady giving me this car because she knows I'm into Volkswagens? Right? I was like, I don't know what I was thinking, but no, that's not the case. She needed somewhere to park her car. Now, I don't know if she knows my neighbors because they came over and started talking to me, and I'm good with all my neighbors, and they're like, you have a car like that? I go, yeah, I have a bug, that's a bug, same, to most people. For me, I'd much rather have my car than this 74 Super Beetle. Anyway, they drop the car off, and then I say, oh, I thought you would take it to the shop to get it worked on, to get it running. It's like, oh, no, I'm not quite ready for that yet. And I said, okay. So again, I assume she knows my neighbors that I live on a corner, and they live right across the street. And we all it's kind of a side street, so we park our cars, which would be close to my house, but whatever. I have too many cars. So I start to look at her car. I go, can I check out your car? She says, sure. And there was another guy with her, and I don't know if it was her, like, seemed like they were related, or I'm not sure. And he kind of knew a lot about the car and the story behind the car. And he was talking about how it was his grandfather's, and it has this cool, like one of those old school, you put ice in it, and then the air attaches to your window. And as you're driving, the air from the road and the ice sends cool air into your car. I've seen them around. They're really neat. I would love to have it because it's also like really vintage looking. And that's on the car. And I'm just like, that is cool. We talked about that for a second. And then I go, can I look inside? And they're like, sure. So I checked the door sill because they were saying it was a 70. And I go, this isn't a 70. Like just the taillights alone. The door sill says 0674. And so I go, I think that's when it was made. So it's probably a 74. It could be considered a 75. I would say 74, right? Because it's first half of the year. And then I go, can I look in your glove box? Oh, sure. So I open the glove box, I find the registration, and it's a 74. I say, cool car, really neat car, fully complete car. It has not been messed with, and probably put a battery in it and mess with it and put some new gas in it. I bet you it runs. And so I say, take it easy, go about my way. I was working on my car. It's still there. I don't know if that's its new home, because it sat around the corner from my house for years. Like I've seen that car a bunch of times, 2022, maybe 3 years. So maybe it's been sitting there that long. I hope it doesn't sit on the side of my house for 3 years, because I park cars there, but it's not like that's my personal, it's just on the street, which it's really close to my house too. So I'm like tempted to just push it a little bit further away from my house to where I can still use that for parking. Because when I park a car over there, that's right where I park. So it's orange. I said, you throw some wheels on this and lower it. Pfft, it's a cool car. That was just a strange occurrence. I was over here like, I'm about to get a free bug. Like, no, you're not. I'm in the midst of the front end. I got both of the spindles pulled off. Once I understood, like I said, what I had to do, I was like, oh, duh. And then I have all the tie rods pulled off. I left the pitman arm on. I ordered a new steering box, and then I decided to just order new tie rods and tie rod ends for a 2-inch narrowed beam. I'm trying to get rid of as much slop and play in my steering as I can. And again, it's probably a lost cause because of just lowered car, right? You're never gonna make it drive and steer very good. But I have new shocks, lowered shocks, and I talked to Kevin about raising it a little bit, but then I'm like, what's the point? Honestly, I'm thinking about lowering the back a little bit, just because. I've also looked at airbag beams, but that's all super expensive, and I feel like you're doing too much, and you're not true to all the problems of having a lowered car if you bag it, right? Even though it's more affordable than it used to be. It's actually the smartest thing to do, but then you could drive it out of town. Anyway, it's more than the car. Buying a airbag beam and the kit just for the front is more than I paid for this car. So I'm not doing that. I'm keeping it cheap. So I'm waiting for a bunch of parts. Oh, I bought something. I gotta show you this. So again, I blame Facebook Marketplace. I must have done a search a long time ago for like fog lights, right? Because I had a 64 that had just a single fog light on it, which I was fine with just one fog light. I think cars can look fine with just one fog light. But it was like super vintage looking, and I don't think it worked. It was just like, kind of an accessory, just a decoration. So anyway, I found this. It was listed with a bunch of other lights. I was like, oh, a vintage fog light from it says Nash, right? So I'm assuming it's from a Nash car. And yeah, it's just, it's in okay shape. I just thought it would be, at some point I'm going to attach it to the car. This mount actually swivels, and they do sell mounts that attach to your grip your bumper mount, and it can attach there. But they were like $75. I was like, that's fucking crazy. So I went on eBay and I found a thing for motorcycles that fit on a bar, and I was thinking about putting it on the bumperette or the overrider part of the bumper and seeing if I can mount it that way, because that was $20. So I bought this, and I'm excited about that. I still want a roof rack. And the other big thing is I went far for these, Salinas, and I bought a set of MP 5-spokes. They're not actual MP, they're just MP style. They're aluminum. I think they're from like the early 2000s. They're just polished aluminum and they're pretty lightweight and they look good. And the other upcoming thing is I bought some door panels and rear interior panels, and I got to hit up my mother-in-law and see if I know she can do it and make it look awesome. It's a matter of whether she will do this. I don't know. I'm going to ask her and see what she says, but I have the material that's the same as my seat covers to do the door panels and rear interior panels. So I got to, buy the clips and all the other junk to hold it in place. But as far as the material goes, I have everything I need. Again, Facebook Marketplace, it's a great place and it's a bad place. It's basically like Craigslist, right? Remember Craigslist and how great Craigslist used to be? I have no idea. I know it still exists. I think that catches you up. Today, hopefully I'm gonna drop the whole beam out, pull off the trailing arms, put them on the narrowed beam, and get that back in the car. And then I'm just basically waiting for the tie rods. I could probably get most of it back together. I don't know if that's all gonna happen today. Everything involved in this is heavy and a pain in the ass, so it might take me, I don't know. It would take a normal mechanic, 20 minutes to do what I'm about to do for the next couple hours, but yeah, I take breaks, I get tired, whatever. So that's where I'm at. This is just an update as to all the things that are going on the 63 Beetle. So the DMV. Oh man, the hours I've spent at DMV. So I went to the DMV. First, I took the car to get it inspected. They did the inspection. They call me and they start off with, unfortunately, your car passed, which was mean, but funny. So I go pick up the car and it won't go into gear at all. What I assume was that whatever mechanic moved the car around stretched the clutch cable. Something happened. I didn't want to accuse them of anything. Clutch cable in it could have been super frayed. It's like anywhere. That's why you never argue at like a fast food place, because they have control over your food. So if you say some crazy shit, they might do some crazy shit to your food. Like, just be polite. So I didn't assume that the shop did something wrong. I just kind of said, I wasn't going to go in there and be all mad and yell and scream and accuse them of anything. It's like that cable could have been about to break and it finally broke. I didn't have any tools. I didn't have nothing. And so I had the car towed. A lot of places will work on Volkswagens and some places are like, nah, we don't mess with those. So I just wanted to get out of there because they had passed me on the inspection, and I felt like I was so grateful to get that done, which again was over $300, which is crazy that's how much it costs, but that's how much it costs. And like I said, they were the only place in town that even did it. So I towed the car to Major's Air Cooled, and they put a clutch cable. Thank God it was just a literally $15 cable. They fixed it like in 5 minutes. From there, it was like late in the afternoon, but I was determined to get this done. So I drove to the DMV, and there was a line coming out the building. I wait my turn. I get up to the front, and I think because the last visit I was at the DMV, they told me, this VIN verification that you have, we don't accept it anymore. We're going to have to do it. Which, okay. You just have to say, okay. I hand the gentleman the paper, the inspection results, which looks like a smog test result, which they didn't smog it obviously, and the VIN verification. I just play dumb, basically. Like, hopefully this guy accepts my paperwork. And he kind of starts going through it, and he just starts typing, asks me a couple questions, and he starts getting out the envelope that I know is for plates. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna complete my task. And he gave me new plates, assigned plates to the car, gave me registration stickers and tags, and said the new title will be in the mail, and have a great day. And so I ran out of there and put the plates on the car. So now I've been using the plate off of my dune buggy for this car to kind of move it around, because otherwise you have to get a 1-day permit anytime you move your car, which that means you go to the DMV and get the permit, and it's just too much. So it has plates. Of course, immediately I tear apart the whole front of the car, and now it's not drivable again. So one step forward, 2 steps back. So it's going to be the way I want it when I'm done, and that's the point. March, April. I think there's a show in April, the one in Madeira. I went last year, and it was actually a lot of fun. Really, pretty fairgrounds. I feel like anything Don't get me wrong, I love Stockton, but the chance to get out of Stockton for the day and just see other places and, you know, even if it's nearby, and not that Madera is anything, you know, it's a really small town, but it's not Stockton, so it's nice. I don't know if I'm driving my car to that. I would like to. This car's not tested. Plus, the suspension, who knows, you know, what that's gonna do. But I'm super excited to make a lot of progress, get this beam in, get it aligned, and hopefully it drives better than it did. I'm gonna make sure that it doesn't rub and that it just didn't steer good. It just didn't want to turn. It felt like it was one direction too. It was like, I'm gonna take my time and make sure it steers good. And then I don't know if I'm gonna lower the back. I think I'm gonna put it all together with the different wheels and see how it looks. So it's one spline in the rear. That one spline lowers your car a bunch, you know. Thinking just one more, so it'd be two in the rear, lowered. It currently scrapes on a few things. You know what, maybe I should bring wood with me everywhere I go, and depending on if it's getting on a tow truck or a really steep driveway, like, hang on, let me build a little ramp so I can get my car up this without ripping the muffler off or whatever. So I think I covered all the bases. I think that's a pretty good update. I'm gonna show you where I'm at. Well, the gas tank is out. It was. That's what you hear draining. There's way more gas in here than I thought there was, that's for sure. So yeah, so now that the gas tank is out of the way, get the spindles off, and then all the steering stuff looks pretty simple, and then put in the adjustable beam. And then I'm gonna check my wheel clearance is really good. And then while I'm at it, I'm gonna take these little turn signals off and rewire it back to the parking light, because I don't have turn signals on top. So progress continues. We're getting there, slowly but surely. I don't know if I showed the new steering wheel. So that's the new steering wheel. Put seat belts in. And the back seat is in. And I don't know if I'm ever gonna get a headliner. That's a big maybe. Then it's got the new speedometer. And then the only other part is this. So that's the new door panel. So this is the door panel and the matching material to match the inside of the car. And again, I'm gonna ask my mother-in-law if she will once again save the day and hook up my car. This is where we're at. Till next time.